Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. Today we're going to fire up the Big Joe and we're going to get out the XL pizza stone and we are going to do a no-knead pizza. So let's get started. I've got a large stainless steel mixing bowl here and we are going to start out with 210 grams of lukewarm water. My water is at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit and that is approximately 1 cup. And to that I'm going to add approximately 1 gram of instant dried yeast, and that's 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm going to let that sit and let that dissolve in that water for about 10 minutes. While our yeast is dissolving, I've got another small mixing bowl here and I have 350 grams of the double alt flour, which is an Italian style flour that I got from King Arthur. That's 350 grams, which is approximately 2.5 cups. And to that, I'm going to add 7 grams of table salt, which is approximately 3/4 teaspoon. And then I'm just going to add 1 teaspoon of onion powder and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and I'm just going to take my whisk and whisk all that together. Now that my yeast is dissolved, I'm going to start adding this flour mixture to the water and yeast, and I'm just going to kind of mix it up lightly as we go. And I'm going to mix this until I get all of the flour incorporated into the water. And I'm going to mix mostly by hand here after I get all this put together. Okay, now that I have all that flour incorporated there, I'm just going to cover this loosely with saran wrap and I'm going to let it sit for about 30 minutes and then we'll be back. We've been sitting here for about 30 minutes now, so I'm going to take this plastic off and I'm going to dump my dough out on my parchment or my pastry mat here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flatten this out and we're going to fold it over itself a couple times. We're not really kneading, we're just folding to help build a little bit of gluten structure here. So I'm going to fold it over itself, 3 or 4 times. And the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of olive oil into my bowl. And I'm going to coat the inside of the bowl with that olive oil. And I'm going to dump our dough ball back inside here. And I'm going to press it down and then I'm just going to flip it over one time. And that's all we're going to do to this dough. I'm going to cover it back up with the plastic. And we're going to let this dough sit at room temperature on the countertop for anywhere between 12 and 18 hours. We're going to let that dough rise up real big in here. So we will be back tomorrow to have a look and see how it's going. Okay, it's time to fire up the Big Joe. I've got a full load of charcoal here and I've got 2 Kamado Joe fire starters positioned in here. We're going to light these up and let these burn with the lid open for about 10 minutes. After we've got our fire going, I have put my accessory rack here in the top position and I'm going to set both halves of my heat deflector on the top level here, right on the accessory rack. And here's something I'm going to do that's a little different. I have picked up a couple of 1/2-inch copper tees that I'm going to set on here to create a little bit of an air gap between our Kamado Joe XL pizza stone and the heat deflector to help keep the XL pizza stone from getting hotter than we might like. So we're just going to set that right there and we're going to let this grill come up to about 600 degrees or so. In order to get the Big Joe up to 600 degrees, I'm just going to leave the bottom vent fully open and I'm going to leave the top vent fully open until we get up to about 4 or 450. And then I'm just going to close it probably about halfway and we'll adjust it from here. I don't want to go much over 600 degrees for this cook, so that's where we're going to shoot for. And while the grill's coming up to temperature, I'm also going to let this guy come up to temperature and let it stabilize there for 30 minutes or so before we put the pizza on, because I want that pizza stone to be good and hot. So we're going to let the grill stabilize, and while that's happening, we're going to get our pizza ready. Our pizza dough is ready to start working with. As you can see, this has risen up nicely. So I'm going to get this out here on the surface, and we may have to add a little flour to it, but we're going to work this out into a big round pizza. While our grill's coming up to temperature, I have taken my pizza peel here and laid a piece of parchment paper across the top of it, and I have rolled our dough out. So I'm just going to let this dough sit here and let it continue to do its thing for a little while our grill comes up to temperature. And once the grill gets up to temperature, we're going to come back and put toppings on the pizza. So we're going to start this guy off with some pizza sauce. And we're going to follow that with some mozzarella. And then we're going to put some pepperoni on. And now we're going to take this bad boy to the grill. So we've got the Big Joe up just a few degrees over 600. So I'm going to pop the lid open here. I'm going to burp the grill first, and we're going to check the temperature of the stone. Okay, I've got my infrared thermometer here. The stone's about 560, so we're good to go. I'm going to get the pizza on. So I'm going to burp the grill again, and we're going to crack it open. And I've got the parchment paper here to make this real easy to transfer, so we're going to slide it right off onto the stone, and we're going to start cooking. Okay guys, here we are about 9 minutes into this cook, and I believe we're ready. Man, that's looking really good. So I'm going to get this off the grill. We're going to take it inside, we're going to cut into it, and we're going to have a look at the bottom of this crust also. So we'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm going to cut this guy. Man, it smells fantastic. I'm going to cut a piece off the edge here, and let's have a look at the bottom of it and see what that bottom crust looks like. Man, that's just perfect. No complaints there. So let's have a taste. Alright guys, let's see what this guy tastes like. Fantastic. The No-Knead pizza dough works really well. It has a great flavor. The onion and garlic that we added to that really comes through. This crust holds up at 600 degrees no problem, so it's a very good crust. I'm gonna have to give this a try. Let me know what you think. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/KamadoJoe. Follow us on Twitter @KamadoJoe. And until next time, this is John Settler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.